Hi everybody, Brenda Earl Stokes, the owner and creator of Piano and Voice with Brenda. I create all kinds of online content, practical solutions for singers, pianists, and music teachers. It's Motivation Monday again, everybody, and I've been making a video every Monday with some information to share about staying motivated, staying productive, lots of practice tips relating to music, piano tips, all kinds of stuff. It's just whatever I'm thinking about. Now, I just reread what is one of my favorite books of all time, and I want to share it with you. It's called 168 Hours. You Have More Time Than You Think, and it's by Laura Vanderkam. I clearly spilled a coffee on it. Laura Vanderkam is she's a great author who specializes in time management issues. And she has done a lot of research on how people spend their time. And this particular book is just so fantastic and is a book that I reread from time to time, hence the coffee mark on it. It's called 168 Hours because that's how many hours there are in a week, which I had never thought of until I read this book. And, Laura Vanderkam has 5 children. She has, a very busy career as a writer, as a speaker. And she's always been really fascinated by, those people that have like 3 kids and a job and they volunteer and they do all this stuff. And her thought process is that, all of us have 168 hours a week, right? Everybody does. And it's just a matter of how we spend that time. And so one of the things she has people do is track their time. And she has like a chart in here. You can go on her website and get it. And it's a spreadsheet where you would log in how you're spending your time. Now, she's apparently been doing that for several years, where she keeps track of how she spends her time in the day. She had a whole bunch of people do this, like hundreds and hundreds of people fill out these forms for a week. And then she went over and had a look at all the data. And she said what was really fascinating is that a lot of people were saying that they were working 60 or 70 hours a week, when in actuality they were really working 45. And people thought that they had no time to do anything. They were watching like 27 hours a week of television, for example, So her thought process here is, we really have more time in the week than we think we do. It's just we're making a lot of choices as to how we spend that time. And some categories in the book that I found particularly interesting was she was, feeling like, oh gosh, I never spend enough time with my kids. And, she tracked the time and she realized like she was actually spending a lot of hours with her kids. She was finding little pockets in the day where there was a lot of time being wasted for just mindless scrolling and things like that. So she kind of does a time audit from time to time to figure out like how could she best be using her time? How best could she be doing that? So I did this myself for a little while and it was really, really eye-opening. First of all, I realized that I was also like spending way too much time scrolling and watching TV and like just kind of wasting time. I also realized, and this is pre-pandemic because, the time I spend with my kid now is all the time. But when my kid was in school full time, I was still spending on average 6 or 7 hours a day with him. And so any time that I felt that mom guilt kick in, I'm like, really, I'm spending like a ton of time with him. So there's no guilt in, going out with a friend or taking time to exercise, that kind of thing. And I also realized just personally that there was a lot of time wasted for me in the morning, where it was sort of the couple of hours in the morning where we're all milling about, where I felt like I didn't have time to exercise or do my physical therapy for my shoulder on a regular basis. But it turned out that I really did have a lot of time in the morning. I just wasn't using it very effectively. And so this really was game-changing for me because I was able to have a look at that time audit and start to think about, well, if I'm doing this, what could I be doing instead? And some of the swap outs I made were Instead of doing a lot of scrolling, instead I've been trying to cut that with more actual reading. So having a book going all the time. In the morning, I have, as part of my morning routine built in now, I do use some of that time in the morning that I was kind of wasting milling about. I spend more of that time doing my physical therapy, of doing like a meditation practice, all that kind of stuff that's been serving me a lot more. And I'm also aware of the kind of time that I'm spending with my kid to make sure that I'm spending like worthwhile time with him, rather than just sort of we're in the room together. And it also made me think much more productively about the work that I was doing. Do I need to feel, is it a lost cause if I don't have a 3-hour block of time to work? Like, is there a way that I can take 30 minutes here or 30 minutes there and be productive? And so it's really enabled me and empowered me, I'd really say, to be able to find little pockets of time to do things. So the number one thing people say is, well, I don't have time to practice, right? This is why we're talking about this. I don't have time to practice. I just don't have time to add anything else into my life. My life is already completely full. And obviously, for a lot of people, that is very true. Being in this place where I'm at is definitely one of privilege. I don't have to work 16 hours a day to keep food on the table for my family. So I'll be the first person to say that for a lot of people, they really don't have the time. But for a ton of us, we actually do have the time. And it's just a matter of adjusting how we look at things. And so for everybody around there, Laura Vanderkam, she has a bunch of books on this subject, but this one in particular was really, really eye-opening. And also thinking about other things that waste your time, dealing with difficult people, or how many emails do you need to respond to? All those kinds of things, like things that are, do I need to waste time doing this? It's the simplification of a lot of things to say, like, do I really need to be doing cleaning on 3 days a week, or can I just settle for just Sundays? Those kinds of things. So I highly recommend this book. It's really terrific. If you want to learn more about kind of time management and thinking about time in a different way. Laura Vanderkam also has a podcast that I'm completely obsessed with called The Best of Both Worlds. And it's about working moms, basically. So moms that work outside of the home or have their own businesses. And she does that with a woman who is a doctor. So she's a full-time pediatrician. And Laura Vanderkam is a writer and a speaker and runs her own business and, publishes books like one a year or something like that. And they have really great conversations around the concept of mothering, like how do you love your family, but also love your own career. So I also recommend that. It's my listening. Anyways, I hope this was helpful today. Again, I know we're all thinking about how can I better use my time. And I'd say that this book, more than any other book I've ever read, has really given me a better structure for it. Bear in mind that I'm a work in progress too, and I am still very much struggling through all of the details of things. But having this as a framework, and if I have a couple of real sluggish weeks, then I can go back to tracking my time and see where the little time sucks are. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and you can definitely leave a comment below if you've checked out Laura Vanderkam or what you think your big time sucks are. I'm sure we all have them. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.